Well, you can't make this shit up, and I'm gonna take it off again because look, it was his turn to do it. But Kellen, I have to talk about this one because you can't, you would never be able to make this shit
I
up.
simply lack the creativity. We all lack the creativity to think of this.
I mean, for years, we've had drag Christmas parties shows, and they've been open to everybody.
Yes.
And then this last year, it became an issue.
No.
So look, we're going to talk about drag. We're going to talk about the victory of the liberals. Liberals have been looking for a victory,
And
and they
got
finally got one.
But
so
for now, at least.
Well, they were always temporary because you have a court system that.
Yeah.
Look, the Supreme Court is doing all kinds of interesting things this week, and David and I will talk about that soon. But on this one, let's just talk about what has happened. So DeSantis's law was to make sure that any place that had a drag show, well, no, live entertainment. Let's be specific. It's
live
not directed at the drag. It's all directed at live entertainment.
Yeah, like live adult entertainment, including but not limited to drag.
Right. It did the drag law. So kind of go into what you know about it, because this is very interesting.
So the Protect the Children Act, which is what it's called, which, it's a bit of a strange one. It kind of, the goal has been to take drag out of the public eye, kind of in corners. Places that have live adult performances can now lose their liquor license, and they can pay fines now. So, and then specifically, this came out with a place called Hamburger Mary's, and they ended up filing a suit against it, which got in front of a judge who issued a temporary injunction on the Protect the Children Act as a result.
But it wasn't about, they don't do drag there, do they?
I don't know what they do. I haven't heard of this place.
So no, so they don't do drag. So it's kind of interesting that it's, they feel that by this law that even a comedian that might come in or be live entertainment could jeopardize this by maybe bringing their level up to adult entertainment where their language might be the barrier.
Yeah, they say 2 F words, boom, adult.
So, but it's a freedom of speech. Right now, this is a freedom of speech issue. Yes. Now, protect the children and protecting speech, that's a very fine line.
It is.
David's argument has always been, when we've talked about the drag situation, has simply been parents need to know how to parent. Parents know how much they can give their children. A dose of sugar or a dose of sugar should be up to the parents.
Yes. And not to mention, like, any establishment that's going to have live adult entertainment, whether it's a comedian, whether that's drag or what have you, there will be notice given out. Like, chances are you're going in, there's probably a bunch of flyers, right?
No, this is where the argument comes from. So if you look back to what led to this, these drag shows were promoted as all ages are welcome. I mean, that's different than saying, hey, we're going to have a show that's entertaining for everybody. Everybody is welcome. And then you go past that threshold. You do, body, your body exposure, or you do things that are, S&M type, imagery. And then you have little girl going up to the drag person and sharing interactions that, I mean, this is where people got freaked out.
Yes. And I do get that. But again, it does fall on the parents. Like, if they see what's going on and they don't like it, just go back. Like, honestly. And there's this weird push to just, and this is not just limited to this, it's limited to a lot of pop culture as well, where there are a lot of parents who are just like, everything's too obscene, we got to restrict everything. Like, I know, like how there's always some effort in some state all the time to restrict, like, video games. Like, maybe try to restrict how you can sell violent video games, what you can have in video games, what you can't. They tend to always fail. but it's always parents saying that their 7-year-old was playing Call of Duty and that it horrified them. But again, that falls on the parent of being involved with your kids. And it's the same thing with this. Look ahead of time about what you're getting yourself into. If you don't like it, you can back out. It's not like there's guards at the door say, no, you're not going to leave. You're going to watch this whole performance and your daughter will interact with the drag queen, you know?
But then there's no responsibility there's no responsibility on the corporation. There's no responsibility to say, look, you provided this entertainment. Look, how do I put this? When I was growing up, Hustler magazine was on the shelf. Yes, but I couldn't reach it. I couldn't preview it.
Yes.
It was wrapped. It had rules and regulations.
Correct.
Did I know what it was?
Probably.
Yes. I
Yeah.
pretty much knew what it was when I was underage.
Yeah.
Did I know that someday I would be able to purchase that? Yes, I knew someday I'd be able to purchase that.
Yeah.
Whether I wanted to or not. Same thing with alcohol. I can go into a liquor store, but why would I even waste my time unless I'm with my parent who's buying alcohol and leaving? Because I can't purchase anything, not even Coca-Cola, in a liquor store.
Yes.
I mean, probably in Florida I can,
Well-
but I've never quit in Massachusetts.
Okay. So maybe we do have a problem here. But then why are the steps we're taking though? You can't have any adult entertainment. Like you can't have adult entertainment in your thing or you'll lose your liquor license. A liquor license is being sold at a place which will clearly have adults, right? I mean, it can have children too, or just adults. Doesn't really matter.
Difference is a bar.
Yes.
I cannot bring a child into a bar,
No,
but
you
I can
can't.
bring a child into a restaurant that serves alcohol.
Of
And
course.
both of those can have adult entertainment, but the liquor license is a privilege, and children in your facility is a privilege that you have as a restaurant over a bar.
Okay.
That's why I believe they
But then-
pushed this agenda.
But then why? But so bars are allowed to have comedians, but a restaurant isn't now. Like
No,
kind of depend. They're not allowed to have live adult entertainment. Like, and here's something. If the problem is that it's marketed to all ages, go at it from a marketing perspective. Require a disclaimer, maybe. Like that would have been a reasonable step. Like a proper notice that if it's adult, like that would have been a good step. And at that point, it would give parents more informed decision making. But this is just saying, no, you're just not going to do it.
well, I do. I do kind of have my conservative Republican card here, and I defend
it.
I defend those Christian individuals that have this passion to protect children.
Yeah.
I think that we need to put more time into the nuclear family. And my point with this is I'm a freedom of speech person.
Yes.
I believe on a freedom of speech. This is a law that needs to be relooked at, but I understand why it was put out there.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want a drag show, have your drag show. Put your drag show someplace where you don't have to put it in front of children. This isn't a recruiting effort. If Army recruiters can't do hardcore recruiting anymore, then you shouldn't be recruiting in your restaurants and bars.
And I understand that. And back in the day when the FCC used to have far more strict regulation, it was like what's in the good interest and the idea of viewable by anybody. Like when the rules were super strict, anything morally corrupting was, told to not be on the air, on the radio. What happened was that because it was so disadvantageous to put up content that's suitable for adults, people just didn't do it. Everything had to be super child friendly. There wasn't stuff for kids, stuff for adults, and stuff for both. There was only stuff for kids, really. And then sometimes there was stuff for everybody. And that's a concern I have. Like, people might be too afraid now to do things like that, even with proper notice, because they'll probably be afraid, if I bring in this comedian, or we want to do a drag show, or because we think it's good for business, maybe not anymore. We could get fined. We could lose our liquor license.
Listen, I'm going to try to wrap this up because I honestly believe this could go on forever.
Oh, it could.
But have you ever taken a long trip?
A long trip? Yes.
And on a radio, just a regular radio,
Yes.
not Sirius or any of these satellites. A
Yes,
radio
a
where you had
radio.
to switch the station as you got out of the signal, right?
Yes.
Good, because I've done a lot of those trips. Every year I would go from Massachusetts, Eastern Massachusetts, to Canada, and if you stay up a little bit too late, the radio changes. And Mom and Dad had the radio on. And when I was hearing Ruth, what's her name? My sex therapist come on the radio, Ruth. God, I wish I could remember her name right now because it would be funny. Yeah. But she was Russian and she started talking about things that my dad, his face just kind of like.
Yeah. Well, I was mostly referring to like the 1930s and 40s.
It's the time.
It wasn't lauded.
It's a time.
Oh, yeah. Nowadays.
After a certain time, the content can change. This is all they're saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how it works now. When I was referencing the radio stuff earlier, I was talking 1930s to 50s. Like, that was when you couldn't, when even that late stuff wasn't allowed back.
I don't even know if the FCC really knew what kind of regulations they had.
They were kind of dumb.
I think we both, on this, I'm wrapping it up with simply this. Decency is decency, but freedom of speech is freedom of speech. This law, I believe, will not stand, but I do believe it needs to be reworked.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Do you want anybody to like us, or do you want anybody?
Yeah, of course. I thought you were about to go on a tangent, but I'm going to go on a tangent. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, follow us on every social media, or else Joel will make a segment on you for not.